We have quite a panel for you on this Monday morning. We start with political analyst Mark Halperin, commentary editor at the Washington Times. Kelly Sadler is here, Project 21 National Advisory Board member. Christopher Arps back with us in St. Louis. And my guest host for the week, Mercedes Schlapp, with us as well. Good morning to all. Hope you had a great weekend, final full weekend of July. Where does the time go, Mark? We say it all the time, but July, boy, it goes fast. Dr. Anthony Fauci was on yesterday. And I think I was curious just because I think the White House is getting closer to mask guidance for fully vaccinated people. He was on yesterday. He addressed that topic. It does seem like masks could be something that return for the fully vaccinated. Take a listen.
You know, Jake, this is under active consideration. If you're asking, am I part of the discussion? Yes, I am part of the discussion. But I think what you are seeing, even though as of our conversation at this moment, the CDC still says and recommends that if you are vaccinated fully, that you do not need to wear a mask indoors.
Mark, we talked about this Friday. It was actually one of the last things we spoke about on Friday here on the show. Did anything change for you over the weekend as far as the messaging goes? Were you surprised that they weren't more firm with the possibility of masks coming back?
Well, they'd prefer not to do that. They'd prefer to get the vaccination rate up. And the problem is they're trying a bunch of different things over the last couple weeks. There's some indications that there's been modest success. But if they can't solve the vaccination problem, they're going to have to turn to other possibilities, including more masking. But as I said, their preference is to make one more big push on vaccination.
Chris, you're in St. Louis, of course. Sunny there already. I don't know how that happens. But I was actually just reading St. Louis County is going to re-implement a mask mandate. I believe it begins today. What's going on there?
Well, it is. They announced last Friday that St. Louis City and St. Louis County, they're two separate entities, are going to reinstitute a mask mandate. They are both scheduled for a press conference this morning to explain it. Of course, people here in St. Louis are not happy about that. We thought we were through with masks. There is no guidance or no science to say why we should have these mandates. There are 3 municipalities within St. Louis County that have refused to enforce the mask mandates in St. Louis County. So that's going to be a big issue here this week in St. Louis.
Jerome Adams was on the Sunday shows yesterday. He was asked about the masks as well. This is one of the big topics that was discussed yesterday. He says that masking is something that he sees coming back. Take a listen.
More mitigation is coming, whether it's masking or whether it's closures or whether it's your kids having to return to virtual learning. That is coming, and it's coming because this pandemic is spiraling out of control yet again. And it's spiraling out of control because we don't have enough people vaccinated.
Mercedes, mom of 5 girls. This is the kids thing drives me crazy. I've got 2 little ones as well. And I had to sort of look back and see why we were so firm with putting masks on kids way back in the spring of 2020. And it was because originally the messaging from the medical community was that kids might be super spreaders. And that's the initial reason why we masked up little kids, the kids that don't have vaccines available, ages 2 to 12. What about them after Labor Day?
Yeah, I think this is where we enter into this not only COVID fatigue, but COVID stress, which is the fact is that parents are not wanting to go back to even a hybrid model. They want their kids to go back to school in person. If it means they wear a mask 5 days a week, well, they'll wear a mask 5 days a week. I know my children did. They were in school in person 5 days a week. They were one of the lucky ones, and they had to wear a mask.
Yeah.
So look, the reality is that this is something that the local schools are going to have to decide what they should do and to protect the children as well as the teachers. What we don't need is this paranoia, is this constant fear, and quite frankly, Fauci should retire. I mean, they really, for the Biden
Wait a second. You think Dr. Anthony Fauci should retire? No way. No way.
Well, but they need a new spokesperson. They need someone that can garner the trust of the American people, because more and more Dr. Fauci keeps changing along with the Biden administration. They don't want to be dealing with this political issue. They keep changing the messaging on this, and it's creating huge frustration across the country. So
that's a tremendous point. Kelly, the Washington Times had a piece about this on Saturday. Does the White House, because Donald Trump got us Operation Warp Speed, okay? Joe Biden's been in office for 6 months. So Joe Biden is largely responsible for getting the shots into the arms of the American people. But I mean, and there's been, there's messages on television encouraging people to get vaccinated from celebrities and news people. Do they need to go back to the drawing board, Kelly, with their messaging and sort of figure out how to go about this, maybe come at it from a different angle?
Yes, but I mean, listen, the messaging has been so inconsistent and the science has been consistent, right? Masks really don't make any difference unless you're wearing an N95 mask. I mean, Dr. Fauci even said this in the beginning. These cloth masks might prevent some particles from spreading, but really are very ineffective. I agree with Mercedes. Dr. Fauci shouldn't retire. He should be fired. He has been back and forth on numerous things that's created so much mistrust among the American people on what they should do, what they should not do. One thing that this administration has not been doing, and the scientific community has not been doing, is talking about natural immunity. About 50% of those unvaccinated have already caught COVID and have come out and have a natural immunity. So where are those numbers? We don't need to get 100% vaccination rate. I need to know what benchmarks we're working from and how do we get there. And this administration is being very dishonest in not giving us all the information we need so that the people can go out and make the right decisions. This
is a big topic. It's not going away, especially as we get closer. I think people are looking at Labor Day over the weekend. The leaders at J.P. Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Citigroup, and Goldman Sachs all came out and said they were going to have everybody back in their offices in the major cities across the country starting after Labor Day. Now, they might not do that because of this Delta variant. Some good news, 40% of the cases in this country, the new cases, are in 3 states. Chris, you're in one of them. Missouri, Florida, and Texas are the other 2. Vaccination rates this weekend went up to, it was the biggest uptick in people getting vaccinated, first or second shot this weekend for the first time in 6 weeks. That's a good thing, but a lot more to get into. Also, COVID dashboards are being taken away. Instead of reporting daily numbers in many states, they're now reporting weekly numbers. Washington, D.C. took that a step further, though. Mercedes, you're in D.C. The mayor there decided that they're going to start reporting breakthrough cases now as well. Those are people that have been fully vaccinated but are testing positive. So depending on where you live, the polarization of the coronavirus and the politicization of it, it just is going to go on and on and on.
Yeah, there's no question that that's where what this has become, right? It has become a political issue. Quite frankly, what I think the Biden administration should do is have these PSAs where they show, it's kind of like those smoker, ads where they show a person who, has had the long-term consequences of COVID, make it more emotional, more connecting to people.
Yeah.
Because when you have these political personalities come out and say, well, get over it and get vaccinated, or you say, we're going to put a mask mandate on even though you are vaccinated, I tell you, it turns people off. And for the Biden administration, they have failed. They literally did the mission accomplished back on July 4th when they said we'd get there to 70%. They had that big party at the White House. Obviously, they haven't reached their numbers. So they are failing to reach the American people. And by Fauci just deciding to go on CNN and saying that's his best approach to connect with the American people, sorry, Fauci, no one's watching CNN.
Yeah, and they're not on the same page. Mark, Rep. Kinzinger from Illinois, Adam Kinzinger is going to be part of that January 6th committee. I'm wondering if you think this might be more about him running for president in 2024, trying to maybe appeal to some of those Democrats in 4 years.
I don't think so. He's a pretty realistic guy. I don't think he's got a chance to be president, at least not anytime soon. This is the Kinzinger and Liz Cheney have a very different attitude than other members of the House Republican Conference about how to approach the events of January 6th. And I think Nancy Pelosi has found in those 2 members willing dance partners who want to be part of this investigation in a way that no one else that I can find in the House Conference would like to do.
Kelly, quick follow. We've got about 30 seconds left, but Nancy Pelosi, she said that she could run this committee and then run a select committee after that. Those take a long time. I mean, you've covered these things. That'll take us, we're talking beyond 2022 now. So she's already got she can run this thing right on through the midterms. I mean, select committees, this could go on till 2024, or at least the 2024 election season. Do you think that's part of the calculus for Nancy Pelosi here?
Absolutely. She wants to keep January 6th and Donald Trump relevant in the midterms and leading up into the presidential election. She's going to keep this alive for as long as possible. And shame on those Republicans who call themselves Republicans that are joining her committee so they can perpetuate her narrative. This is an absolute shame.
All right, we have a lot more to get into. New polling came out for the president. He's been in office now for 6 months. We'll get into that. A lot of the American people are not thrilled with the direction of the country. A lot of people that were thrilled just 3 short months ago. We'll get into that at the top of the hour, and we'll hear from Nancy Pelosi. Panel, good stuff. It's a great way to start a Monday morning. Mark, I'm looking at you. Good stuff. You see that Red Sox game yesterday, Mark?
I did. It was spectacular.
Unbelievable. Just a great weekend. Although the Olympics, kind of a letdown, and people apparently not watching. All stuff we'll talk about.